Welcome to NFL Live. I'm Dan Graziano here with Louis Riddick, Booger McFarland, and Adam Schefter for the next hour. Talk some NFL with you on this August Wednesday. Adam, what more can you tell us about the Vikings' decision at quarterback?
Dan, they didn't even wait till they got to preseason week 1. Before they could even take a preseason snap, they named Kyler Murray their starter. And I think the Vikings knew what they've had in the past with certain veteran quarterbacks like Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold. Those quarterbacks have left the building. They were looking for another veteran quarterback. They found that in Kyler Murray, who also was looking to jumpstart his career. He signed a contract that has a clause in it that says he cannot be tagged after the season. Of course, if he plays the way that he and the Vikings want, he won't want to leave Minnesota. He'll want to stay there and continue on. But the fact of the matter is, these two sides needed each other. Kyler Murray thought this worked. The Vikings thought it worked, and they made it official this week by naming him the starter before they even played it down in the preseason.
Vikings were able to get Murray on a minimum salary deal, Boog, because the Cardinals cut him, and they've got to pay him about $36 million in guaranteed money. So good deal for Minnesota if he plays well. But J.J. McCarthy, Booger, was the 10th pick in the draft just a couple of years ago. What happens to him now?
Yeah. Well, I think if you're J.J. number one, this is just a setback. This is not the end of the story. I think we've seen several quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, that things didn't always go well initially, and now they're starting quarterbacks in the National Football League. So if you're J.J. McCarthy, yeah, you're disappointed. He's human. He's going to be disappointed to lose the competition. But at the end of the day, you sit back and you learn. I think the number was like 64 or 65 quarterbacks played last year. So the likelihood of him playing this season is really high. So you sit back, you learn. When you get your opportunity, whether that's this year in Minnesota or whether that's somebody else, you come out, you take advantage of the opportunity. I do not think, by no stretch of the imagination, is the J.J. McCarthy story over. As a matter of fact, I still think it's just beginning. He's only got 10 starts. So if you're J.J., yeah, you can be disappointed, but don't feel bad long, brother.
And J.J. McCarthy's not going to be looking for a trade. He is content to play out this season in Minnesota. It doesn't preclude Minnesota from making a move, although Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings head coach, said they absolutely plan on and want to keep J.J. McCarthy. So it would stand to reason right now that J.J. McCarthy will finish this season in Minnesota, and then we would revisit this topic again in the offseason, presumably with, at that point in time, the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy figuring out a way to go their own separate ways after this season. But for right now, J.J. McCarthy is not going to be looking for a trade.
Yeah, and as Adam pointed out earlier, Kyler has a no franchise tag clause in his contract, so the Vikings could be starting from scratch again next offseason. Louis, it is Kyler, though, to start, at least for the Vikings. What do you expect out of him in this Minnesota offense?
Well, I think what I hope is that we see the Kyler Murray of 2024, where in just about every meaningful category, as far as throwing the football, at least meaningful to me, he was top 10. Like, he was top 10 in total QBR, completion percentage above expected, off-target percentage was amongst the best, yards thrown in the top 10, 11. And I think what you want to see is him do some of the things that you're seeing right here. This is tape from 2024, where he's under center. He is going through progressions, executing 3, 5, 7 steps drop, play action passes, pre-snap identification, signaling to wide receivers, what the favorable matchup is, where he's going to go with the football, and then delivering it on time and with accuracy. Those are the kind of things that I think are hallmarks, regardless of what system you play in particular, the system that they want to play with up in Minnesota. That's what Kevin O'Connell is looking for. That's why, going all the way back to March, Kevin O'Connell was very effusive in his praise for Kyler Murray and his potential fit in this system, although there were people who disagreed with it, as if they knew Kevin O'Connell's system better than he did. I think on the football field, as long as Kyler stays healthy, 15 to 17 games, he's going to have one of the best seasons of his career, man. He really is. What held Kyler back has never been his ability to play on the football field. It's all the things he can do off the field, whether or not he can level up all the people around him. He'll have his opportunity now, maybe the best one of his career.
Bogey, raised your hand.
You know what's interesting about that, Lou, is that if you go back and you really watch Kyler Murray in 24, he plays on time a lot more than people think. He just gets up and runs around. And I think that's the intriguing part about Kyler Murray in this offense, because you already know that it's Justin Jefferson, it's Addison. You got to get the football to them in the confines of the offense, and everybody's like, man, Kyler's going to run around. Nah, he actually plays on time more than you think. And I think if he does that and then adds in the run factor, This offense could be right there with the Rams as one of the most explosive offenses in the NFC.
Yeah, Kyler was 9th in the league in total QBR in 2024. Last season, he was 28th among quarterbacks that threw at least 150 passes. So, Vikings obviously hoping he bounces back to 2024 form. Kansas City Chiefs are at training camp out in St. Joseph, Missouri, trying to bounce back from a disappointing season that saw them miss the playoffs for the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career. Mahomes, of course, coming off a season-ending knee injury. Here's Travis Kelce on his quarterback.
One of the most surprising things you'll ever find out about playing with Pat Mahomes is the guy's got a good cadence. There's some with the frequency of his voice, and when he says, it really gets you to. So everybody just got to, mentally when you're tired, you really got to lock in because that frequency it get you to jump no matter what. It's a good cadence. Everybody knows I love that guy. That's a brother to me. So proud of the way he handled adversity from last year to right now. You see him enjoying the game, competing at a high level, not thinking about the knee, and he's playing his tail off right now and leading us is the biggest thing. Is when you get your leaders out there, your best players out there, and they're setting the tone, setting the standard of the team. As long as 1-5's out there doing that, man, we're going to be a good football team.
Boog, how many other Chiefs you figure can get away with making fun of Pat Mahomes' voice in a press conference? Just Travis?
I mean, probably not many, but it never gets old hearing Kelce with the little Kermit the Frog voice. It's got to be one of the inside jokes in the locker room.
No doubt about it. Boog, what are your expectations for Mahomes coming back from that injury?
Well, I think number one, you would hope that Eric Bieniemy, I think we got to start there. Him coming back, being the offensive coordinator, they got to get the most out of their talent. I don't think they've always done that the last couple years. Number two, I think you got to take some of the pressure off Patrick Mahomes. He seems to be ahead of schedule. I think everything, and Shefty can fill us in on this, I think everything is pointing toward him starting week one. The fact that he's doing so much now in training camp, but you still got to take some of the load off of him because we know that knee's he's not going to trust it right off the bat. But from an offensive standpoint, they got to be more creative, they got to be more explosive, and they got to run the football. And I think they realize all three because they went got Bieniemy, they signed Ken Walker, and they're going to play Patrick Mahomes under center a little bit more. And I think if they do those things right there, by the time we get to late November and December, we're going to look back and say, man, why do we ever doubt the Chiefs? Because Mahomes is going to be healthy, Kenneth Walker is going to be averaging 4 or 5 yards a carry, and we're still going to see the same Chiefs that is tough to beat. They're just going to look a little bit different.
Boog, did you see those highlights right there of Mahomes at training camp? Out there throwing the football, moving around. Guess what? He hasn't missed a rep this summer. He's been cleared to practice, as we know. So he's been out there at practice, going through drills, moving around. If all that is happening now in mid-August, why would he not be ready to play the opening Monday night game of the season against the